Hey, it's Cover, and here are 10 major changes made in Update 2.68. Number 1. Idols. Idols are removed from the game. Already existing idols can be consumed to gain idolitons, which you can trade for wisdom and prospecting candies in front of the Ouginak church. Number 2. Prospecting. The prospecting formula has changed. The impact of prospecting has been reduced in the formula for calculating end-of-fight loot, but in compensation, the drop rate of almost everything has been increased, except for ceremonial items. Number 3. Challenges. You can now choose between a set of challenges during the preparation phase of a fight, and you must also pick whether these challenges will increase loot or XP, so you can't have both at the same time anymore. Number 4. Special achievements. New dungeon achievements have been added, replacing the previous Idol's Core achievements. These new achievements are different for every dungeon and require a good understanding of the dungeon mechanic. Number 5. Achievement rewards. Achievement rewards now give less resources than before. They used to give 10 resources and they now only give 2. To compensate, item recipes require fewer boss resources. Number 6. Buffed Dofus eggs. A few Dofuses have been buffed. The Crimson Dofus now also increases final damage by 1% for hits received in melee. The Dolmanac's stats are increased from 50 to 70. The Ochre Dofus now gives 20 dodge if the bearer suffers damage. The Coco now starts healing on turn 3 instead of 4. The Watcher's Dofus effects are simplified. When the bearer ends his turn, he heals aligned allies right away. The Coward Dofus passive is swapped around to be more consistent. You gain AP parry if you suffer an AP reduction attempt, and MP parry when you suffer an MP reduction attempt. Number 7. Monster changes. The King and Queen summons in the Paper and Ink dungeons have their turn timer increased to 30 seconds. Misery can only stack her power steal 5 times, but she can now swap positions under gravity state, and her place switching spell cooldown is reduced by 1 turn. The initial poison that is applied to everyone when starting a fight against corruption mobs now directly removes HP instead of dealing damage. This means that you cannot stop the damage by using shield points anymore. It makes tank pandas have a harder time to survive without getting healed. Number 8. Eniripsa Rework. Eniripsas have been completely reworked. The developers found it too strong in 3v3 and too weak in solo PvM or 1v1. Without going into too much detail, here's what's new on the class. The Coney can now either be used for healing or damage. Vials are accessible for every element, but as the variant of Coney. All buffing and debuffing utility spells can now be cast on an empty cell to summon either a fairy or a will-o'-the-wisp. These mobile summons can explode on a target and apply a buff or a debuff depending on the type of summon used. As for elemental paths, Intelligence is medium and long range, has AP reduction, range steal, and critical hit penalty. Chance is short and medium range, has unbewitchment, area of effect healing, health steal, and dodge penalty. Agility is long range, has mobility debuff and MP reduction, power penalties, and area of effect healing. Strength is short range, has pushback damage, and healing over time. Number 9. The Goultard Arena. The Goultard Arena layout has been improved. You now have interactive skulls to help you differentiate between 1v1 and 3v3 maps. 3 skulls means 3v3 and 1 skull means 1v1. Also, a new map was added at the top of the arena with more pouches available to fight. Number 10. Class modifications. Apart from Eniripsa, many other classes have been modified. A lot of spells have changed for some classes, while other classes have received minimal modifications. Here's a short summary of the most important changes for each class. Ouginak. The animal form has been changed. The 100 range penalty has been removed. Instead, any damaging spell that normally has 3 range or more is set to 2 range. The MP gain is also decreased from 3 to 2. Most spells now apply an effect even without the presence of the prey state, although the effect is stronger with prey. A new spell is added for the Ouginak to debuff himself. Variants have been moved around to have 1 more spell available in every elemental path, and you can now exit the animal form before it fades out by itself. Forgelance. Some chance and utility spells have been nerfed. Eliotrope. Every elemental path now has 1 more spell to use at the same time. Agility spells are now more focused on pushback. Insult pushes 2 cells, Bullying can be cast in melee, and Sermon can push up to 4 cells. For the Chance path, Lightning Fist is no longer linear, Composure gives 1 MP to the caster when used in a portal, and Affliction now applies a start of turn poison on top of dealing direct damage. For Intelligence, Affront now lifesteals when cast through a portal. For Strength, Snub now costs 3 AP, and the minimum range on Shock is 2. Regarding utility spells, Stupor can be cast every turn, Odyssey can be used with 2 range, Diffusion does not reflect damage on allies anymore, and Neutral now gives you back 1 AP every time you use it. Huppermage. The 5 AP by element spells are getting their AP cost reduced. Stinger and Ember are becoming 4 AP, while Cataract and Celestial Wave are now 3 AP. The damage is also decreased to fit with the AP cost of the spell. All the variants of the 2 AP lifesteal spells like Storm, Burning Stroke, Glacier, and Transfixing Gust are now usable every turn. Morph is now usable only 3 times per turn and 2 times per target, and the Strength state now removes line of sight on the spell instead of adding 1 more cast per target. The Elemental Guardian is now on global cooldown of 4 turns, and there can only be 1 Guardian per team. The Guardian also works differently. You now give him different buffs depending on which combination you do. You could give your Guardian 3 AP, reduce damage received or increase damage dealt by 15%, give 30 lock, 3 MP, or 3 more range on his damaging spell. The Agility state on Elemental Trap now gives the Unable to Lock state instead of removing range. The 4 AP spells that were usable only once per target, like Striking Meteor, Astral Blade, Icy Shards, and Deflagration, can now be cast twice on the same target. Craw. Dispersing Arrow is now 2 AP instead of 3. The cooldown on Crushing Arrow is reduced to 2 turns instead of 3. The Recall Beacon is now 1 AP instead of 2, and the Tactical Beacon can now be used every turn. Lark Mirror can also be used every turn now, and Lashing Arrow can now be used in diagonal. Sadida. Variants have been moved around for the Strength and Chance elemental pass to now have 1 more spell available at the same time. Masqueraider. Variants are moved around for more spells of the same element to be used at the same time. More spells are usable in 2 masks at once. Some masks now have additional effects, like the Intrepid Mask pulling in an area of effect, and the Hysterical Mask pushing and increasing pushback damage. Comedy can now be cast in melee, but it becomes usable only once per target. Brincadera can now be used in melee as well. Capering can now be used to teleport to the other side of a target. The Strength Elemental Path now has an additional spell to remove MP from a distance. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to go into more detail and read the full changelog for yourself, the link is in the description.